Over the course of American history, there are many events that are considered very controversial, one of them being the American involvement in the Vietnam War. As a component of the Cold War, America was there to prevent the communist takeover of southern Vietnam by communist North Vietnam. We are joined by General George S. Patton IV and John Kerry. In 1946, graduate of West Point, Patton was initially trained as an infantry officer. His first assignment was to Regensburg, West Germany, where he participated in the 1948 Berlin airlift. Patton served in Korea starting in July of 1953, commanding A Company of the 140th Tank Battalion, 40th Infantry Division. Patton received his first Silver Star and the Purple Heart in Korea. During his 3 tours in Vietnam, Patton, who frequently used helicopters as a mobile command post, was shot down no less than 3 times and was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. On February 18, 1966, Kerry enlisted in the Naval Reserve. He began his active duty military service on August 19, 1966. After completing 16 weeks of officer candidate school at the U.S. Naval Training Center in Newport, Rhode Island, Kerry received his officer's commission on December 16, 1966. On November 17, 1968, Kerry reported for duty at the Coastal Squadron 1 in Cam Ranh Bay in South Vietnam. In his role as officer in charge of the swift boats, Kerry led 5-man crews on a number of patrols into enemy-controlled areas. Now they have come to talk to us as veterans of the Vietnam War. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Tracy.
So both of you volunteered to be in the war. You weren't drafted, is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes, first I was enlisted in the Naval Reserve, and then I began my active military duty on August 19, 1966.
So entering Vietnam, do you guys have any opinions on the war, any feelings about the war?
I mean, of course, being a human, I have opinions and beliefs, but I was just called upon in Vietnam to do my job, do my duty, and my own opinion was completely irrelevant.
How about you, John?
Well, I agree. I mean, it's one thing to have an opinion, but it's a totally other thing to protect your country against the common enemy, which in this case was communistic North Vietnam.
I like that. Dig it. I have a question, and it is this. Now this war, more than any other war, is controversial. Now, you guys as veterans, do you feel that controversy when you came home?
Absolutely. I mean, no one really knows why America was in this war, and it's so unpopular because there was a forcible conscription, and people were just really confused and angry that men of ours were dying for apparently no reason. I mean, I'll be walking on the streets and people I don't even know are just so angry at me for being involved in this war. I even get problems about it from my family.
So your parents had an opinion about it?
They did. My father, George Patton III, who I'm named after, yes, was a revered general in World War II. And everyone was aware why America was involved in World War II. It was like a very noble cause. And he came home and people were celebrating his return. And it was a really big thing, a really big celebration. And now I'm home and people are just angry with me. Even some of my family is not accepting the fact that I was involved in such an incredibly unpopular war.
Understandable. How about you, John?
I mean, my family didn't really have an opinion. We have to realize that this war was a progressive thing. What began as a group of small advisors for President Dwight Eisenhower turned into a long, tedious struggle of involvement of 2.5 million troops.
Yes, the war definitely escalated. And as our involvement increased, so did the controversy here on the home front. Audience, how do you guys feel about how veterans should be treated? Now please help me welcome President Lyndon B. Johnson. He greatly escalated direct American involvement in the Vietnam War. As the war dragged on, Johnson's popularity as president steadily declined. After the 1966 congressional elections, his re-election bid in the 1968 presidential election collapsed as a result of turmoil within the Democratic Party related to opposition to the Vietnam War.
And I am continuing, and I am increasing the search for every possible path to peace.
He withdrew from the race to concentrate on peacemaking. Now he joins us as the former president during the Vietnam War. Thank you for coming, Mr. Johnson, President Johnson. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me, Tracy.
How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
So, Mr. President, my first question is this. Now, your actions regarding the war received much criticism here in America. Why do you think?
Well, you know, I had to do what I thought, excuse me, was right for the country. I knew that Kennedy wanted to withdraw troops from the war by 1965. However, I did issue a reversal executive order to add more troops to the war. After the Viet Cong attack on the U.S. barracks in Pleiku, I decided we really needed to step up our game and add more troops. And we bombed North Vietnam in 1965 because that's exactly what I just thought was necessary. So I really just did what I thought was best for the country. And to make a long story short, I was protecting us from communism.
So you have no regrets?
I mean, to be quite honest with you, Tracy, I have some regrets. I know that the number of troops involved in the war increased from about 200,000 in 1965 to approximately 500,000 in 1968. So, you know, a lot of families, they lost their loved ones, and it was very tragic for everyone. However, aside from all that, I really don't have many political regrets.
Okay. So as you know, and as we know, George Washington warned against getting involved in foreign affairs. Now, what were your views on isolationism regarding Vietnam? What qualified you to reverse Kennedy's policies there?
I mean, to be quite honest, Tracy, isolationism, it works well in theory, but in dire situations such as the Vietnam War, it wasn't going to work. I mean, I knew Kennedy wanted a policy of America not getting involved in the war and America not really starting a war with Vietnam. However, we really needed that to happen. I mean, me personally, I believe that the liberal opponents to what I wanted to do in the Vietnam War actually were people of communism, like, you know, Eugene McCarthy, George McGovern, and all the rallies and marches they started were products of communism. So really, I was just, again, trying to protect us from the evils of communism.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Audience, how do you feel about Johnson's policy to add more troops to Vietnam? Do you think it was an effective approach to stop the flow of communism? In December of 1965, John F. Tinker, who was 15, and his younger sister Mary Beth, who was then 13, decided to wear black armbands showing peace symbols for the Vietnam to their schools in protest of the Vietnam War and to support the Christmas truce called for by Senator Robert F. Kennedy. They were tried and brought into the Supreme Court under Tinker v. Des Moines School District case. Hi guys, thank you for coming.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So your actions have caused quite a controversy, haven't they?
I guess so.
Maybe, yeah.
So why don't you tell us what happened on that one day in school?
Well, my sister and I were planning to wear peaceful armbands to school. We were talking about some of our friends, and I guess rumors got around to the school board and they must have heard that we were going to do it. So they actually created a policy, conveniently, banning armbands to school.
Well, my brother and I, we decided to wear it anyway because we didn't care.
Yeah, and we got suspended actually for it on January 1st, 1966, which actually was the day we were planning to end our protest, but they suspended us anyway.
That's weird. Now, were you scared at all about this?
I was petrified. I mean, we were just little kids, you know? We had this idea and we wanted to share it with everyone else by wearing armbands, and then everyone just stared at us. It was scary.
Yeah, it was definitely scary. I mean, like, we knew what we believed in, and we were being peaceful about it. We were being very, very passive, you know. We weren't being violent or anything. It's not like we were holding any rallies. We just wore an armband. I don't think that was anything violent or something that we should get punished for.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, why were you so against the war?
It has a lot to do with the fact that our parents were pacifists, and so we grew up in a peaceful household that constantly, we just, you know, anti-war. We wanted to share our views with everyone else, and
Yeah.
that was the reason for it.
Yeah, definitely. We knew the war was between North Vietnamese and the South Vietnamese, and it wasn't really something America should have gotten involved with in the first place. So that much we knew,
It was just bad.
It was
That's
just-
what our parents kept telling us,
and we totally believed them. We totally understood.
Okay, well, thank you for coming, guys.
Thank you.
And we applaud you here for standing up for what you believe in.
Thank you.
Audience, what would you do if you were victimized for just having a belief about a war?